Hey folks, welcome back. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to do another one of these reviews, but for those of you that have been following me on the home version of the game, know that I've undergone surgery and I've been recovering from that, and it's been slow and a little complicated, but it's okay. I'm doing better. Anyway, I'm doing well enough that I can appear on camera and talk about the thing that I wanted to talk about a couple of weeks ago, but everything sort of got in the way and I didn't get a chance to. It's this the Marvel Universe Marvel Multiverse role playing game. I'm Mark Finn, and I'm talking to you from my Patreon page on behalf of the North Texas Apocalypse Bunker. And I'm going to do a quick review of this for you. So, this is the playtest rule book that was offered as a commercial product. I got mine off of Amazon, and I want to just initially congratulate the Marvel team and also Matt Forbeck for this. I've never seen anybody monetize their playtest before. But you've absolutely made it pay to play. And I know that sounds like I'm being cheeky, and I'm really not. I mean, it's fascinating. At the back of the book, there is a little option. Marvel wants to know what you think, and then there's links there, and you just go and log in and give them your opinion of stuff, and it's kind of genius. Really, really interesting. Yeah, I think you're going to get maybe a broader swath of opinions than you might want. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I won't be privy to any of that, but something tells me there's going to be some junk reviews in there that you'll just have to sort of, know to factor out. Okay, so before we get into this, just a couple of quick caveats. I am a longtime gamer, and I've been a huge fan forever of superhero role-playing games, despite the fact that they are probably the hardest thing to create in a role-playing rule set. And the reason for that is because they have to do everything. It's when you're doing science fiction, you can decide this is going to be grim and gritty, so we're not going to do a lot of hit points, and lasers are going to do a lot of damage. Or if it's a fantasy game, you go, are we doing Lord of the Rings, or are we doing Conan? And that sort of informs the decision that some of these things make. But in any superhero game, whether it's based on a licensed property or something unique like Villains Vigilantes, my personal favorite, or the hero system, you have to account for a person with no superpowers and a person with godlike superpowers. And that can strain a system, especially if you're trying to do something that's light and or elegant. For things like the hero system and Villains and Vigilantes, the problem was solved by just more dice. If I wanted a character with heightened strength in Villains or Vigilante, he might have a strength of 80, which might mean that he does 6d10 damage when he punches somebody. Well, to make a character that's formidable for that, then you create a villain with a 90 strength that does 7d10 damage, and then it's just a question of attrition, rolling the bigger numbers, and sometimes it's fun, especially with the hero game like Champions or Villains or Vigilantes, to grab a handful of dice and say, okay, here's your falling damage, and just let it all hit the table and bounce. There's something visceral and terrifying about watching those many dice hit the table and know, okay, this could be it, right? But Marvel was the first licensed product that came out in the 80s that was a superhero setting. Came out from TSR, and I think all the old gamers are familiar with Face Rip they did something that was neat, and it's something that Marvel superhero gaming has never really been able to get away from, and it's the idea of categories. You might have a character that had an excellent agility and a remarkable endurance, right? Um, and these had a number of values assigned to them, but they were ranked categories. Excellent was not as powerful as remarkable, which was not as powerful as incredible, and then amazing, and so on and so forth. And it was a way for them to come up with some stats for Rick Jones and Nick Fury, Agent of Shield, that made a certain amount of sense, but then that also they could do stats for Spider-Man and Thor and Hulk and these larger characters. And they even allowed for, in the expanded versions of the game, Celestials and Eternals like Galactus and, things like that. Because, gamers, they just want to punch the largest thing that they can punch, whatever. So Marvel's always had this component sort of built in. And I personally blame the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, which was very popular when I was growing up, because it finally gave like set statistics for how much Captain America could lift versus how much Spider-Man could lift. Those were big deals, these sort of rankings. And TSR, to their credit, made use of those, official stats to create a bunch of characters for the game. TSR ran a regular feature in Dragon Magazine called the Marvel File that Jeff Grubb took over and ran with for years. That was simply, every month there were new stats for upcoming things. And sometimes he could be topical and pick characters that were involved in current storylines or recent storylines, like the Beyonder for Secret Wars, or the Serpent Squadron for Captain America when the Big Serpent Society storyline. Well, I feel like I'm in the weeds. I feel like I've lost most of you at this point. Okay, back to this. Sorry. So I looked through the game, and what this really is sort of the starting system, and there's some really smart design choices that Matt made here with regards to setting up the game. He has amended and abbreviated the game, that it is now a target-based setup. In other words, you're going to roll 3 dice, 3d6 in fact, and you're trying to hit a target number. That is very elegant. I would call that not quite rules light, but certainly not crunchy. And those numbers are very similar to the numbers that you encounter in the current D20 system. Okay, they range from 5 for incredibly easy to 30 for nearly impossible. So that's not too far gone from this. And then a difficult roll, for example, would be like a 15, say. Now, if you're just rolling 3d6, that's kind of difficult. But in this case, you'll have modifiers that you add to your die roll based on your powers. And he did something that was very thematically cute, I think. It's the system is the 616 system. For those of you that know about the Marvel multiverse, we know that the current comic book universe is universe number 616. And so how it works is not unlike basic role playing in that respect. The 2 dice are the same color, and then the 3rd die is a different color, and that together they do make the total. But when you roll certain things, Um, it triggers additional responses, special effects, and powers. So 616 is the best roll you can make in the game, right? Uh, 616 gives you like incredible stunt activity. There's also some, 3 1s, obviously is a failure. But there's other results on the special effect die that cause complications or cause, bonus features. And it looks like the rule that they're going to use is something that you see in some of the more wiggly games like Powered by the Apocalypse. Yes, and no, but. So, failing forward looks like is going to be one of the things that they're going to give you access to in the game. And that actually kind of works on brand as well. It's very rare when Spider-Man misses throwing webs on somebody completely. Uh, in fact, it's more common, especially in like say early Silver Age episodes of Spider-Man, for the Vulture to move out of the way and for Spider-Man to snag a flagpole or something else that sort of interferes with the battle plan and allows the Vulture a chance to strike or whatever. So that's sort of, I think, what they're going for with this play style. The characters themselves, there's a number of characters included in the book for you to get started playing. It's what you'd expect from the from the movies. There's Captain Marvel, Groot, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Rocket Raccoon, and it's going to be real interesting to see what this looks like in the finished game, because Spider-Man's a really good example here of you can see his scores. There are sorry guys. His might is a 5, his agility is a 7. These are ranks, and you can see the modifiers there that would go towards roles that you're going to make. He's got some basic things like speeds and initiative and how much damage he does in a fight, things like that. But then down here under powers, there's just a list, and the lists look like in the game that they're going to be a tiered tree. Forgive me, still got surgery cough. So for example, you're going to have super strength as a power, and then underneath super strength, it's going to unlock things you can do with the super strength. That's kind of what he's got here with his web slinging ability. He slings webs, and then there's some really specific stuff that Spider-Man does, like web bombs, web glider, and web shapes. You only need it for Spider-Man. I mean, who else in the Marvel universe is throwing webs around? I don't know, and that's fine. I'm really okay with that. They're gonna have rules in the finished book that will let you build your own characters that you can play in the game. Personally, I don't know that I would use this for that. I think I would use this for, we're going to play an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. campaign with the Marvel Knights characters and Moon Knight and Daredevil. And this is all going to be kind of low level crunch. So, I have a series of things that I've always wanted to do with Nick Fury fighting, the, Hydra in a Marvel campaign. I think that's what this is going to do far more efficiently than let's make up our own characters and, try to, do something cool in the Marvel universe with them. Anyways, sorry. I'm going to cut this short because I'm starting to cough. But This book is $9.95, $9.99, $10. You can pick it up at your friendly local game store. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it in comic shops. If you're curious about this, particularly if you've played the old Marvel Universe game, I recommend giving it a try. Look it over, see what you think. I'm tentatively interested. I think it'll be fun. And I'm looking forward to the finished game when it comes out next year, because I have some cool stories that I'd like to run. And rather than hold out any hope that Marvel is going to call me up and go, hey, this is Joe Quesada. We love what you've been doing for years. We've never said anything, but we'd like you to write some very specific, weird comics for us. Instead, I think I'll just run them myself for my friends. And so I think that's what this game is going to do handily. Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. This is the playtest rule book. Check it out. Recommended. All right, that's it. I'll do something else later. In the meantime, keep paying attention to the Patreon page, the Substack newsletter, and of course the website at www.northtexasapocalypsebunker.com. I'm Mark Finn. Thanks, guys. Take care.